Hi, my name is Tim with the Mac Guys Plus, and today we want to help you out with some of those confusing login questions you might have when you're setting up your user account. You find that there are a lot of different ways to set up that user or to allow that user to access these accounts, and we're going to go over all those preferences with you today. If you're new to OS X, you're most likely wondering about all these login options that you get in the system preferences. So we're going to launch our system preferences control panel, and we're going to go to the accounts system preference. And we're going to take a look at some of the things that we see here and talk a little bit about what they're all about. First of all, what are all these users over here all about? Why would we want to have all these different users? The nice thing about creating separate users in OS X is that each user's account is completely isolated. So if you wanted to have individual files, music, system settings, and all these photos individual to each person, everybody can have their own custom settings and use the computer when they log in as if it was their own computer. And they don't have to worry about other people's stuff on the desktop or whether or not they're getting their music mixed together in iTunes. If you've got kids, it's a great way to give them an account where they don't have to have a password. They can just automatically log in, and you can limit their access using parental controls, which is another video session. Having separate user accounts also helps you when you want to move your data to a new computer. If you get a new Mac and you want to transfer just your data to a new computer and some of the other people on there want to go to their own machines, you can simply move your user account from this computer to another computer and it will retain all of your settings. And it's an easy way then for you to separate all of your data. If everybody has a single user account, it's difficult to try to surgically separate all of that data so that everybody ends up with their own stuff on their own computer. So, if you got kids that are younger but they're going to be getting their own machine soon, it's a great idea to start them out with their own user account, their own iTunes, their own photo library. That way you can keep your stuff private. And it's a good security measure if you're running a business on your machine. This will help separate people and keep them from getting into your personal data. Now there's a couple different ways to get into this spot, which we already showed you. We can click on System Preferences and go to the Accounts pane directly, or we can right-click on the System Preferences tab, and then we can just go up to the Accounts setting, and then we can end up in the same spot. Some of the other things we can take a look at are the login options. First thing we're going to want to do is we're going to want to unlock this using an admin account so that we have access to make the changes we need to in this control panel. Then we're going to click on Login Options, and this gives us a whole list of different features for the login. The first thing we see here is the automatic login. What this is it allows you to pick a particular user so that they could log in automatically when the computer starts up. And that's generally not a good idea. If somebody steals your computer or somebody walks up to your machine, you want them to have to enter a username and password so they can't get into the places on your computer that you're trying to keep them from. So generally this should be off. Display login window as a list of users or a name and password. Well, the difference between those two is that the list of users will look something like this. And when you click on that particular user, then it will prompt you for your password. Name and password just presents you with two blank spots to type in your name and password, so you can't even guess. I would generally say name and password is more secure for a login, and that's probably what I would do if I was really trying to make sure people didn't get into your computer. Now, showing the restart, sleep, and shutdown buttons, that also shows up in the login window, and you can turn these off so people can't, if they walk up to your computer and it's logged out, if they can restart it, there's a potential that they could boot your machine off of another hard drive or a CD and then hack into your computer to get what they want. By turning this off, when they see that login screen, there's nothing they can do other than power off the computer using the power button or to log in and get access to their account. So we can show different things, password hints, voiceover, so that you can use your password by talking to your computer. These are just a few options at your login screen that you can change. You can also change your fast user switching, which is this option up here. This would allow me to switch to any of these other users at any time without logging out from the existing user. So if you've got a busy machine at home and there's 5 or 6 people logging into it, this is a nice feature because somebody can log in and do their homework, then you can switch back in and you can do your work, and everybody's documents and all their items all stay open while you're doing that switching. One other thing we'd like to make a comment on here with the accounts is that you should never be logging into your computer as an administrative user unless you are actually performing administrative functions, installing software, and things like that. The reason for that is if your account, like this particular test account, it's an admin account. If I'm working as that admin account and I'm logged in and somebody walks up to that computer, they can do a lot of damage to my computer. Or if somebody gets at your computer remotely and you're logged in as admin, you automatically are going to have access to a lot of things like control panels that you shouldn't. So the best way to handle this is you should be logging in as a standard user. Standard users can't install software without knowing what the administrative password is, and they can't change computer settings that would affect things like network settings. So it's a good idea as a standard practice to keep all your users as standard users, and then you create an administrative account that you only log into when you need to do troubleshooting or hardware repair. As a standard user, if you go to install software on your machine, it will prompt you for the username and password for the administrative user. And at that time, you can just enter that. You don't actually have to log in as the administrative user. And the last thing I'll talk about a little bit here is the guest user account. What we have here is a built-in account that will allow users to log into this computer. You can have a guest user account that will allow users to log in and they can see files and folders in a guest home folder. And every time they log out, all those files are deleted. So as it says here, when a guest user logs out, all the information and all the files that they've created during that login disappear when they log out. This other login here, the option to allow guests to connect to shared folders, does not create a local account on your computer. People can't actually log into your computer locally. What this does is it allows people to access your computer over a network as a guest. And all they can access there are shared folders. So if you've set up a shared folder that anybody can see, this account will allow people on the network to see it. So I hope that helps a little bit with some of your questions about what all these login options are. And if you need more detailed help, feel free to email us or check us out online, and we'll try to take care of your questions there. Have a great day.